Don't worry, my dear. I'll happily get rid of your nightmares. Then, Elodie began to think of the things she had to do in her new life. First and foremost, I will raise and feed Kayville well before he goes to war. She didn't want to send him, but it was the duty of the Duke of Cernois to join the war at the Emperor's command. She does not have the power to stop the war. Kayville was only 13 years old when he went to war. In the original story, he was abused and wasn't well fed, so as a result, his body became very frail. Fortunately, after years on the battlefield, Kayville grew into a wonderful adult. The thought of sending my baby to war makes me cry. If I have to let him go, I'll feed him well and raise him with lots of love so that he'll grow into a strong young man. Secondly, I will keep the land safe until Kayville returns. The Duke's estate is very vast and fertile. However, the number of productive people in the dukedom was very small. It was all because of poor governance. Naturally, the efficiency was bound to fall. In the original work, Elodie ruined the Duke's territory to the point of no return. Elodie threw all kinds of chemical drugs into the lake and forest in the midst of studying magic pills, which resulted in permanent damage to the environment. Still, the dukedom is open for many prospects as it has not been contaminated yet. Well, first of all, I'll have to study the magic that will make the land more fertile. It's better to plant more expensive crops. I'm sure that there are gold coins and jewels hidden somewhere within the estate. In the novel, the original Elodie found the vault to the hidden gold. Unfortunately, Elodie didn't know the location. So she'll have to look it up again, one by one. Last but not least, I'll have to research the cure for my incurable disease. This was the biggest problem. This was how Elodie's life came to an end. While trying to poison the princess, she got infected by the disease. I don't want to die. If possible, I want to live a long and healthy life. Ugh. Elodie was still writing on her desk. She went to speak to the butler. I want to see the financial situation of the territory. Yes? This. At Elodie's words, the butler bowed his head and went out. She's so thoughtful. Norman was touched. The former Duke of Cernois was very extravagant and was deeply addicted to alcohol. So was the Duchess. Both of them sat on the sidelines, drinking their alcohol without a care for the world. Coincidentally, the two died of a heart attack because of the accumulated years of heavy drinking. In the absence of a successor, Norman questioned the maid who had given birth to a child of the Duke. If he could not establish a successor as it is, the house would ultimately fall onto the Duke's brother, the Count of Bork's hands. Count Bork has an odious personality. Norman didn't want to see the House of Cernois, who the first Duke had devoted all his life to, be trampled upon by Count Bork. Upon finding the maid, Norman still needed to spend a lot of resources to find the abandoned heir in an orphanage. The successor to the dukedom, who was so hard to find, is nothing but a skinny little child. Because of the way he was treated, Kayville was extremely afraid of adults. It was a tragic incident. Norman sent a letter saying he had found the heir. He was also able to make Count Bork acknowledge Kayville as the successor of the Duke of Cernois, but truth to be told, Kayville hasn't been able to adapt to the new environment. This is the reason why Norman decided to have him get married at such a young age. He had hoped that his wife would be able to take care of him as an older sister would. Norman, the Duke's butler, had a bad premonition. Truth to be told, when he tried to bring back Count Montclair's daughter, he had a lot of worries. Count Montclair was notorious for his greed and stupidity. Norman was worried about the little Duchess' personality. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but he had no other choice. No one wanted to send their precious daughter as a wife of the illegitimate son of a poor duke. For aristocrats, wealth was one of the most important aspects to look for when accepting marriage. But Count Montclair had no qualms about giving his daughter. Later, he even wrote a contract for his daughter so that he won't get involved. Yes, madam, I'll give you an easy report. Anne. If the financial conditions do permit, please hire a swordmaster for Kayville. A swordmaster? He has to learn from an early age so that one day, he'll be able to lead a group of knights. Ah. Yes, understood. Find me the best swordmaster. On the other hand, Kayville's grandfather was a benevolent master. Recalling the fond memories of his old master, Norman secretly wiped the tears on his face. Kayville, stop eating snacks. Yes. Wife. Elodie taught Kayville the word wife, and now he keeps calling her that. Elodie patted Kayville's head as a gesture of praising him. Then, she ordered the maid to clean up the plates. She wanted to feed him as many snacks as she can, but it wouldn't be good if he eats. Now, let's go and play. Play? Yes. As a child, playing is essential. Elodie took Kayville's hand and went out into the garden. Come on, Kayville, try to catch me. Okay, wife. You count to 10 first and then catch me. Understood. Sister. Call me your wife, Kayville. Wife. Yes, until you bring the princess back, you will call me your wife. Princess? Elodie rushed throughout the garden excitedly. Unexpectedly, I seem to be more excited than I thought I'd be. Kayville smiled brightly and looked at Elodie running around. His smile was dazzling and beautiful. It was prettier than the moonlight and more beautiful than the sun that sets at dawn. As Elodie grew further and further away, Kayville became nervous. In the end, Kayville chased Elodie without even counting. He was afraid that Elodie might disappear from him. Hey! That's cheating. Ah! Despite Elodie's grumbles, Kayville persistently ran after Elodie and he caught up to Elodie. I got you. Kayville smiled and hugged Elodie. His grip was very tight. Elodie soon smiled helplessly and held Kayville's hand. Kayville held Elodie's hand tightly. Young Kayville never wanted to let go of this hand. He didn't want to give it to anyone else. Today was the day of Kayville's first sword training. Now, Sir Vitos. I look forward to your lesson starting today. Yes, madam. Brian looks dispirited. He was a young man in his 20s. Sure enough, Kayville hid behind Elodie's back and shifted his eyes nervously. That coward is the Duke? Oh, dear Lord. Brian is an open book. It was easy to understand his thoughts. I continued to stare at his grey expression.